What's up, guys? Welcome to Mariners Forever. I can assume if you're here, it's because you know me from Seahawks Forever. With our 108 subscribers, I don't think this is going to go out wide enough on YouTube to get a bunch of new viewers in tonight. But look, I just thought if we're going to witness history tonight, I wanted to share it with y'all. My lady is working tonight. I don't get to enjoy it with her. My father's in Seattle. He called about an hour ago. And this is how much the Mariners have meant to me in my lifetime. And we can talk about this throughout the game, depending on how the game goes, obviously. I want to hear it from you guys as well. My dad's not doing well. He's in the hospital right now, and he's not doing great. But this is my dad for you. He called me today, and I've spent the last 48 hours contacting family members, people that haven't been in touch with him very much over the last few years, updating him on his situation, all of that. He calls me today, and all he wants to know is, do you think they're going to win tonight? All he wanted to do is talk about the Mariners. So I wasn't going to sit on my couch tonight and watch this all by myself. And like I said, when I posted this, we're either going to celebrate together or we're going to suffer together. But we're going to be here for each other. And those of you that are here, I can only assume that you're here because you care and you love this team. The ups and the downs and the freaking roller coaster. And it has been, if there was ever a season that served as a microcosm of the Mariners' history, it's this year. They get off to the great start. They take command of the division. They piss it all away. I should have screenshotted this and showed it to you tonight. I tweeted on September 2nd during the midway point of that second road trip that was just a disaster. They have the 9-1 homestand, then they go on the road and they piss all that momentum away. And I tweeted, the Mariners are going to miss the playoffs and everyone's going to get fired. Like, that's how I felt in that moment. And then guess what? The next day they go to Atlanta. They turn things around. Jerry DiPoto talked about Julio's performance that weekend and how it really changed the mindset and the vibe. The good vibes only were back. And then they carried it through, and here we are. They have 2 games to win 1. I don't want any part of a game 7. In no small part because I don't want the stress, but also we have a Monday Night Football game tomorrow with the Seahawks. I don't want to have to try to divide my attention between those two. So let's wrap it up tonight. What gives me confidence tonight is a fully rested Logan Gilbert. I just saw these numbers. His numbers in his career, pitching on 5 days rest versus 4, is pretty remarkable. Significantly lower ERA, better strikeout to ball ratio. The Logan Gilbert that the Blue Jays saw a couple of games ago is not the Logan Gilbert that we're going to see tonight. That splitter wasn't there. He wasn't sharp. The breaking stuff wasn't there. The velocity wasn't what we're used to seeing from him when he's at his best. So what we're going to do here tonight, I've got on the screen here, I can't, show the game, and I've got my earbuds in. I've got my laptop watching the game over here. So we might not be totally synced up depending on which streaming service you're using. But I didn't want to risk any copyright issues. But this is the Sleeper app here. And so I can kind of toggle back and forth between the box score and the running stats. And then over here, they haven't done anything yet. Well, yes, they have. And it is ahead of where my video is. So first pitch, Julio Rodriguez flies out to center field. So I'm actually going to get rid of this for now. And we'll just kind of check in. We'll use it. We'll go back and forth and we'll just look at the box score and kind of use it for stats. But I thought what I could do here today is kind of do play-by-play for you and just kind of keep you abreast of what's going on. And then we can chat. We can talk about things over here in the comments. Let me throw this up here and we'll do some updates as well. So Trey Savage, for those of you who don't know, it's an interesting matchup because the Mariners thought long and hard about drafting him. He wasn't expected to fall to where they picked last year. What was it, 18th? 1-0 count to Cal, hitting from the left-hand side. Takes the ball. Okay, so it's going to be one of those kind of nights. I thought that ball was clearly outside. 89-mile-an-hour changeup. They called it a strike, so it's even at 1-1. Cal grounds foul ball down the right field line, so it's going to be 1-2. I'll give the Yasevich story. Yasevich, I think is how it's pronounced, even though you want to say Yasavage, right? Especially if you're a Blue Jay fan. 1-2 count on Cal. Facing Trey Yasevich. Just 22 years old, was just drafted in June. Pretty remarkable that he's pitching in the major leagues. I'm sorry, 2 years ago. It was the same draft as Durangelo Saincha, and that's important to the story. Talk about that in a second. 2-2 count on Cal. By the way, what's everybody drinking tonight? I got Blue Moon. This is just my go-to. And he swings and misses at a 2-2 count, so Cal strikes out. 2 outs in the first inning. Good start for Yasevich. He's known for having a good splitter, not quite the Kevin Gossman level, but that's something that's his strikeout pitch. Looks like what he threw right there, though, was a slider. And what a lot of people are saying about how when he gets into trouble like he did in game 2, that slider is very inconsistent and it's just not there. Something else about Yasevich, as Polanco swings and misses at the first pitch, a breaking ball, is in his, I think he started 5-6 games after he was called up at the end of the year. He gave, and that pitch is outside to Polanco. It's even up at 1-1. He was second worst in all of Major League Baseball at giving up hard contact. So this is not a guy that was hard to hit. Polanco deep to right field. Is that enough down the right field line? And the right fielder settles under it. Just didn't get quite enough on that. So 1-2-3 first inning for the Blue Jays. I turn my audio on here. So the Trey Yasevich story. He was expected to go in the top 10 last year out of East Carolina. Do I have that right? I don't know. But there were some medical concerns, and that's why he fell. So when the Mariners were on the board, again, I think it was 16, 17, 18, right in there, they ended up going with Saincha. They were enamored with his skills, but also the ability to go right and left. And there were just enough concerns about the medical reports on Yasevich that they decided to go Saincha instead of him. And now here he is pitching against him in the playoffs. So obviously nothing doing there in the first inning. And we're about to find out what version of Logan Gilbert we get tonight. Now, almost everybody should be available in this game outside of George Kirby, who would be slated to pitch tomorrow. I don't know if that's been officially announced yet. I don't think they do that unless a game is necessary. I think they only have to announce who the starter is if the game is for certain. So right after the game tonight, we would probably find out if the Mariners should lose tonight. So it'd be George Kirby tomorrow. Luis Castillo should be available. He pitched on, what was that, Friday? No, that was Bryce Miller. So Thursday. And so he'd be on 4 days rest. He would be available to come out of the bullpen tomorrow, or potentially tonight. I'm sorry, that's what I was saying. So George Kirby and Bryce Miller, I think, are probably the only two arms not available tonight because Miller just threw on Friday, of course. So everybody else, in fact, before the game, there was video of Brian Wu throwing lightly in the bullpen before the game. Dan Wilson wasn't definitive about whether he'd be available tonight. Just, off 2 days short rest, pitching for his first time in a month on Friday night. But he may be available. So all hands on deck trying to win this game, except for Miller, who simply can't go, and George Kirby. So as George Springer walks up to the plate, this will be interesting to see as well too, and we'll have to pay attention to what the announcers are saying and what they think is how healthy does he look. Now he's the DH, he's on it. He doesn't have to play in the field. And so, but that's that right leg. That's your plant leg to drive off of. Is he going to have the power that he normally does? Is the bat speed going to be the same? I mean, even 80% of George Springer in the postseason is probably better than anything else they could have run out there. So let's see what Gilbert has. Hopefully we see Walter tonight. First pitch, 97 up and in for a ball. Looks like there's 103 of you in here, almost the same number that we have as subscribers. The 1-0 pitch from Gilbert. It's breaking ball up high, and Springer. Okay, so Springer swung at that hard. He was trying to drive that baseball, went down to a knee afterwards, looked like a grimace on his face. He's not 100%. And he fouls that one off. So it's 1-2. Logan Gilbert out ahead of George Springer in this one. Oof. God, they're showing the replay again. Just the sound of that ball hitting his knee. It's remarkable that he's playing tonight, even if he's not 100%. And the 1-2 pitch swung and fouled straight back. 98. When Gilbert's going good, he'll touch 98 and even 99. Early in the year when he was kind of trying to work his way back from that elbow injury where he had to miss some time, he was 94, 95, and that was just not the same pitcher. That splitter just doesn't work as well off the fastball. And the 1-2 pitch drives it to right field. That is foul. Again, I'm seeing it looked like he winced on that swing as well. Tony, thanks for joining us, man. The 1-2 pitch from Gilbert. Breaking ball in the outside corner. Ooh, Logan thought he had him. It's called a ball. Just below the pitch tracker there from Fox. So the 2-2 pitch to Springer. High and inside. Another breaking ball. Works the count full. I don't think his knee is 100%. I'm trying to get a high fastball by him here. You have to test him here and see if he can drive off that leg and catch up with a high fastball. And the 3-2 pitch right down the middle at 97. He did it again. So every time he swings hard, he's dropping to that back knee. That tells me he can't support it to stay up. That's not normal. He doesn't normally do that. He's not right. So Gilbert did exactly what I said. He challenged him, and Springer was late on that. He's still they're showing it on the replay right now. He's wincing with just about every move in between swings. So the 3-2. Inside broken bat, and Gino Suarez catches the foul ball for one out. So one out for the Mariners. I thought I was going to have more time before the first pitch. I do want to apologize. You guys, we had all the intentions, the best intentions when we started this channel, and it was me and Michael Thompson. And then me moving around, and then life getting in the way, and going to training camp and all of that. And then Michael with his full-time career, we just didn't have enough time to give the proper due. High and a little bit too high. They call that a ball. 1-0 to Nathan Lucas. Yeah, they just showed a shot of Springer in the dugout, and a trainer is taking a look at his knee again. The 1-0 to Lucas, strike on the outside corner, off-speed pitch, 1-1. So we just weren't able to continue doing the podcast the second half of the season. But I wanted to do this tonight, and Logan into the stretch for his 1-1 to Lucas. Fastball just low, tried to hit the outside corner, 2-1. One out, top of the first. Logan behind Lucas, 2-1. The 2-1 pitch from Logan inside, and Lucas drops that into right field for a base hit. And a runner on for the Blue Jays. That ball looked like it got him inside, got him on the hands, but he was just able to fight him off into right field. Doesn't look like Logan either has his good splitter in these first two at bats, or if he's just not throwing the splitter and he's maybe saving it for the next time through the order, because his breaking ball looks more like that slider than it does the splitter. And now you got Vlad Guerrero with one out and a runner on first. Let's see how Logan handles Guerrero. 97 down the middle. Guerrero fouls it straight back, so he gets ahead 0-1. I guess I'm not as dumb as I look. John Smoltz just said on the broadcast he's holding back that splitter. Hasn't thrown it yet, so I was right. The 0-1 pitch, down low, 98 on the, tried to hit the outside corner, keep it away from him. Count is even at 1-1. So yeah, Gilbert, this must be the game plan, is let's see if we can get through that lineup once without using the splitter, and then bust that out your second time through. The 1-1 pitch, and Guerrero grounds it to second base, but it's too slow to get the double play. Runner out at second. Bouncing ball to second base. Leo Rivas fielded it, stepped on second, threw to first, but not in time. So Guerrero is at first base with two outs. So the contact that Gilbert's given up so far, not hard contact. Even the base hit from Lucas was just kind of a weak, just a blooper into right field. Didn't see the exit velocity on it. Alejandro Kirk hitting .222 in the postseason with one home run. And of course, he had the big run the other night, scoring from second for the first time all year. Logan's first pitch to Kirk, high fastball, fouled away, gets ahead 0-1. The 0-1 pitch from Gilbert to Kirk with Guerrero on first base. Outside fastball, hit deep to right, and just foul. Kirk almost got enough on that one. Went the other way with it, took an outside fastball, 97 on the outside edge, took it to right field, and it was very similar to the ball Dom Canzone hit the other day. It was more foul than Canzone's was. Remember that? That might have been the story of that game if the Mariners don't come back with the Raleigh homer and then the Suarez grand slam to win it, is how close Canzone came to tying it on his own and missed by about a foot. This one is about 5 or 6 feet down the right field line. So now Gilbert ahead 0-2 to Kirk with two outs, runner on first base. See if he comes back with something inside now and hard. He's been working Kirk outside. Come on, Logan. The 0-2 pitch to Kirk. Got him. There's the splitter. Waited to use the split finger fastball until the last pitch of the first inning. Got Kirk to strike out on it, an 81-mile-an-hour splitter down and in. So 1-0 or 0-0. Don't want to scare anybody after the first inning. But what I started to say is apologies for not continuing with this channel. But my intention is to now do this moving forward. The offseason, just like it is with the Seahawks, is one of my favorite times. And, what's kind of fun this year is usually when you're a Mariner fan, you're waiting for the playoffs to end so that free agency can starts 10 days after the end of the World Series, and you can start to get some movement. Sometimes Jerry DiPoto likes to get a jump on the market. Sometimes there's early trades. Then you have the GM meetings, the owners meetings. Things start to heat up pretty quickly once we get to the offseason of baseball. But we're always watching other teams do it. And we have to wait for them to finish so that we can get going with the heavy lifting of the offseason. Well, this offseason should be fun, not quite as much heavy lifting. Shouldn't be, anyway. Much more advantageous starting point for this team from where they were a year ago, at least offensively. And then, hopefully we're playing in the World Series and we don't have to watch someone else do it. But we'll be continuing on with this channel. Michael won't always be here, but I've got some other people lined up that I think you'd really love to hear from, and I'll just drive it myself. It'll at least be on a weekly basis when it overlaps with football, maybe sometimes more in the offseason as news commands it. There's some big news coming out over the bye week for the Seahawks of how I'm reshaping my Patreon page to be an umbrella and include all of my content. Mariners, Seahawks, might even dabble in some other stuff. I won't give that away now, where you can get all the videos, the audio podcasts, my written articles that I do on Substack. We haven't worked out the logistics, whether it'll be linked on the Patreon or whether I'll just post it as an article there as well. That'll be the engagement hub where we're all going to meet. Because you guys are here tonight, I'm kind of giving you the skinny before I've announced it to everybody else. We're also going to do polls there on a monthly basis so that it'll be like a tournament every month, and you guys get to choose an episode for me to do, a subject matter for me to focus on. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to just make a lot of sense where everything will be kind of in one place, and it won't have the YouTube ads that you get when you watch directly on YouTube. So, that's coming, and Mariners Forever is going to be a part of it. So really excited about that. Back in my broadcast days, obviously I covered all sorts of sports, and I covered hockey, and I covered basketball as well. And even when I started podcasting, I would try to cover both sports. It just became, once I got the field goals gig and started focusing only on the Seahawks, it just felt like that was my wheelhouse. And then it kind of grew from there. Yasevich gets out to an 0-1 start against Naylor with the breaking ball. As we are back to the top of the second inning now. Naylor hitting .412 in the postseason, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, a .1238 OPS. Swings and misses at a low fastball, so he's behind 0-2. I know it's awfully early, but are we looking at a pitcher's duel here? Naylor, a weak swing and miss on a breaking ball, looked like the splitter on the outside corner. So three pitches, 3 strikes for Yasevich, striking out Naylor there. And this definitely looks like the good version of Trey Yasevich. The question is, how far can he go? Only 5 or 6 starts in the major leagues. He's never had a heavy innings load in his career. Was just pitching in college baseball a year and a half ago. Let's get that back up here. Looks like I lost my... There we go. Randy Arozarena. Boy, my opinion on Arozarena's future with the Mariners has changed a lot in the last 2 months. Not just the playoffs. He hasn't been very good since August. He's a great clubhouse guy. He's a streaky hitter. He's always been a streaky hitter, but this is a prolonged slump. He's been almost as bad as Suarez was up until Friday over the last 2 months. And bad swing and a miss on the slider from Yasevich there as he is ahead 1-2. And so far, the Mariners don't seem to have any idea of what's coming from Yasevich. Randy got contact on that one, pulled it down the left field line. Stays alive at 1-2. But Randy's arbitration number next year is projected to be about $18 million. The 1-2 pitch from Yusevich, swing and miss, strikes him out. I think that's his third strikeout of the game. 2 outs in the top of the second. Yeah, that was the splitter. They called it a slider on the broadcast, but that's the splitter. Starts Suarez off with a slider on the outside part of the plate. Misses. So Suarez is ahead 1-0. The 1-0 pitch. High breaking ball. Fouled straight back from Gino. Count is even at 1-1. Yeah, Taylor, I'm with you. They need to go all out for Naylor. I do think there will be, we'll talk about that during the commercial break, which hopefully won't be right away. The 1-1 pitch to Suarez, high strike called on a high slider. So Suarez behind the count, 1-2. Yusevich has already struck out the first 2 hitters in the second inning. And the 1-2 pitch is just outside. Count evens at 2-2. The 2-2 pitch to Suarez, yanked down the left field line and foul into the crowd. Well, we'll try to go back to that. Looks like it's not going to let me share the box score for right now. And Yusevich, 94-mile-an-hour fastball, low strike called. He strikes out the side. 4 strikeouts for Yusevich so far. And he is dialed in. Logan's going to have to match him inning to inning. But yeah, what I was going to say about Naylor is, there's reasons to believe that his market won't be at the top end of what first basemen are paid in Major League Baseball. He's not your typical first baseman. And I'm not just talking about how he's physically built, but typically the first basemen that get paid big money, the Freddie Freemans of the world and the Pete Alonsos of the world, the Kyle Schwarbers of the world, they're big-time power hitters. Naylor's not that. He hit 30 home runs 2 years ago, but he tailored his approach this year to try to get more contact. As a result, he had higher on-base percentage, better batting average. He's not ever going to challenge for gold gloves at first base. His game is not for everyone. And now you do have a market. There's going to be some guys out there. Pete Alonso's going to be on the first base market. Somebody else just announced the other day that they're declining an option or they're taking their opt-out. There's another first baseman. Now I can't think of him. But there's going to be some other options out there. We know that he likes hitting at T-Mobile Park. We know that he's loved this experience. And maybe this is kind of like an Ernest Jones thing was with the Seahawks, where he's been traded twice in the last calendar year. He has a brand new baby. He might want some stability. And if the Mariners offer him a deal for fair market value, I don't know what that is. It's so hard to tell from one offseason to the next. Maybe is $345 enough to get it done? $15 million a year? Do you have to go to $18 million a year? Maybe 3 years, $50 million. I don't know what that looks like. He might want something longer, and maybe, especially if they win this series and get to the World Series, maybe that pumps his value up just a little bit more, and a team's willing to pay more. But when you look at what it took the Mariners to get him at the deadline, really wasn't that much. That sometimes tells us about a player's market value, and that translates to the offseason and what teams are willing to pay monetarily. So I'm fascinated by it. I don't think he's going to command. He's not going to be in the Alonso range. I think it's realistic. They've said they want to re-sign him. Now, there are also reports that is it Murakami, the Japanese corner infielder, although he sounds like a guy you don't want playing third base, and he's barely playable at first base. But he is going to be posted. The Mariners are reportedly one of the teams that are interested in him. I wouldn't think he and Naylor can coexist in a lineup, but maybe he could be plan B if they don't sign Naylor. I would think there would be a big push to try to get Naylor signed before free agency starts or right at the beginning of free agency. Logan starts out Dalton Varsho with a strike. He's ahead 0-1. Varsho takes a fastball into the gap in left center field, and he is going for two, a leadoff double. Another damn leadoff double that obviously didn't bury the Mariners in the last game, but my goodness. You're just playing with fire when you continue to let the leadoff guy on. That was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate. I mean, that's batting practice. And then Julio might have had a chance to keep him to a single, but the ball bounced out of his glove and he had to chase it down a little bit. So Dalton Varsho sits at second base with nobody out. And Clement at the plate hitting Ernie Clement hitting .429 in the postseason with a 1,000 OPS. He has been a thorn in the Mariners' side, but Logan starts him off with a fastball, and he's up 0-1. The 0-1 pitch, Clement hits it to Gino, who drops it, throws to first, not in time. Come on! 2 defensive bobbles, and now the Blue Jays have runners at first and second with nobody out against Logan Gilbert. Routine ground ball to Suarez, goes to transfer it to his hand as he's checking the runner at second and drops the baseball. And Clement's just too quick. So now we're going to need to see that splitter from Logan. He's going to need to get a strikeout here. All right, we're going to have to see the best of Walter here. He's going to have to be a bulldog. Here's the pitch to Addison Barger. It's called a strike. Slider on the outside corner. Hitting .241 in the postseason with a .726 OPS and 1 home run. The 0-1 pitch from Gilbert. Swing and a miss on the splitter out of the zone. He's up 0-2. You don't always want to try and strike pitchers out. Like Bull Durham once said, ground balls are more democratic. But first and second, nobody out. Up 0-2. You want to strike out here. Opens up a lot of possibilities. The 0-2 pitch, tries it again with a splitter outside. Tries to get him to wave at it, but he doesn't. This one was a little farther outside. Count is 1-2. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Barger. Logan Gilbert to the plate. Slider fouled down the right field line. Count remains 1-2. You guys can hear me okay? The audio is good enough? I can't monitor it because I'm listening to the laptop instead. The 1-2 pitch from Gilbert buries a slider or a splitter in the dirt. Count evens at 2-2. He's really working the bottom of the zone with breaking balls in this at bat, trying to strike him out, at least trying to get him to pound the ball into the dirt for a potential double play if he does make contact. Gilbert with 28 pitches. The 2-2 pitch to Barger. High fastball roped into right field for a base hit. That's going to score a run. 1-0 Toronto. Runners at first and third with nobody out. This is not the good Logan Gilbert. The fastball doesn't look like it has a lot of life to it. And the slider, what was that? What was that pitch? That was the slider, and he hung it. You just can't do that against this team. This lineup is too good, 1 through 9. You cannot do that. Yeah, you got first and third, nobody out. You're giving up a run here if you have to with Kiner Falefa at the plate. First pitch, and does he go around? Checked his swing, and it's a strike. So he starts off 0-1 against Kiner Falefa. Not known for his bat, but he's 3 for 7 in this series. And the 0-1 pitch from Gilbert, fouled straight back. He's ahead 0-2. Got to strike him out here. Strike him out, pop him up. If he hits a ground ball, you turn the double play, you let the run score. The 0-2 pitch, way outside, buries it in the dirt. Nice stop by Raleigh. Checks the runner at third, holds him there. Sometimes when a starting pitcher has extra rest, sometimes you don't have a feel for those breaking pitches, although you look at Gilbert's numbers on 5 days rest versus 4, and they're significantly better, but that might speak to velocity more than it does the breaking stuff. The 1-2 to Kiner Falefa with runners at first and third, nobody out. Grounded foul down the left field line. The count remains at 1-2. Kiner Falefa, the number 8 hitter, so you really have to limit the damage here before you get back to the top of the order. This game could get out of hand in a hurry. The 1-2 from Gilbert. On the outside, chop down the left field line. Suarez tries to barehand it. Doesn't make a play. Everybody is safe. 2-0 Toronto. Runners at first and second. Nobody out. So Eugenio Suarez, who was the hero on Friday night, with 2 errors in this inning, leading directly to 2 Toronto runs. It is 2-0. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. Number 9 hitter coming to the plate. That's a routine ground ball. We've seen Suarez make that play 1,000 times. Brutal start. Wow. So Andres Jimenez at the plate. He has been a thorn in the Mariners' side this entire series. But John Smoltz is saying, look for him to bunt here. Nobody out, runners at first and second, 2-0 Toronto. Gilbert's first pitch to Jimenez. He squares around a bunt, fouls it away, 0-1. Infield is in. Jimenez squares around a bunt again on the 0-1 pitch, takes it for a ball, 1-1. Jimenez squares around a bunt again, the 1-1 pitch. Now he pulls the bat back, swings and misses, trying to shoot one through a drawn-in infield. Slider from Gilbert, good pitch. Jimenez behind now in the count 1-2, and now he's got to swing. Does the infield go back again now? The 1-2 pitch to Jimenez. Swing and a miss. Strikes him out. That was a big, big out. Now George Springer coming up again. We don't know how that knee feels. His first time up, he grimaced and winced every time he swung the bat. We saw a trainer checking him out in the dugout afterwards. But he's got a great opportunity here with the Blue Jays already leading 2-0 in the bottom of the second inning with 1 out, runners at first and second. Now, if he hits something on the ground, George Springer probably not as fast as he normally is because of that knee injury. Should be an opportunity for a ground ball. Look for breaking pitches from Gilbert, and he starts him off with a slider, but it's too low. 1-0. So they're giving him heat and vibration therapy in between at bats in the dugout, according to Ken Rosenthal. The 1-0 pitch from Gilbert misses outside and low. 2-0 on Springer. With Lucas on deck. The 2-0 pitch to Springer with 1 out and 2 runners on. Breaking ball in the inside corner on the inside misses. 3-0. Oh. I really thought we were going to see a better version of Logan Gilbert tonight. So a 3-0 count to Springer now from Gilbert. Way inside. Didn't have a chance. Walks him on 4 pitches. Bases loaded. 1 out for Nathan Lucas. Do they have anyone up in the pen? Like, I don't know how long you can go. This is not what I was expecting from Logan Gilbert. So now Nathan Lucas at the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out. Toronto already leading 2-0, and the crowd is getting into it. The first pitch, breaking ball inside, fouled off, 0-1. Yeah, Tony, you're right. It's not. But his stuff, this isn't his best stuff. And no, I don't even know if Wu can go tonight. And the 0-1 pitch fouled straight back. He's ahead 0-2. Remember, Wu could only go 45 or 50 pitches at most on Friday. Hasn't pitched in a month. To ask him to come back on just 1 day's rest from his first relief outing of his pro career, I'm not using him unless it's desperation later in the game. And the 0-2 pitch strikes him out. Great pitch there from Gilbert for his 3rd strikeout. Now now Vlad Guerrero comes to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs. That was a great splitter from Gilbert. If he can get out of this, limit the damage, get out of this at 2-0, Trey Yesevich isn't going to go more than 5 innings. That's just how I feel about how young he is. He hasn't had a heavy pitch load in his career, a heavy innings load. The first pitch to Guerrero. Breaking ball low, ball 1. Now, Cal Raleigh's got to be on his game here because Gilbert's stuff, it's got a lot of break. He's trying to pound the bottom of the zone. He's going to throw that splitter. You cannot let a ball get by you here. I know he didn't allow any pass balls in the regular season, but he has one in the postseason. He's had a couple other close calls, and Gilbert's tough to catch. The 1-0 to Guerrero here. Hit to Suarez. He smothers it at third base, throws down to second base for the out. So Gino Suarez with the 2 errors leads directly to 2 Toronto runs, comes back to make a great diving stop at third base, gets up from his knees, throws Springer out at second base. They limit the damage. That is, we may look back at that later in the game as huge for Gilbert to get through that. And it looked like his stuff was a little bit better to the last two hitters as well, to Lucas and Guerrero. So dodged a bullet there, 2-0 Blue Jays as we head to the third. Just following up on what I said earlier about the future of this podcast as a companion piece to Seahawks Forever and then bundling it together on the Patreon. Got 214 of you in here. Thanks for watching. Didn't know if anyone would. Just wanted to do it for fun. But be sure to subscribe to the channel if you would, just to kind of get us going. Help us to build up a little bit as we head into the offseason, try to build this channel up a little bit. Yeah, Tony, that was big. That was gutsy from Gilbert. And not letting, I mean, man, we've seen George Kirby struggle with, things are going great. He's pitching well. He's rolling. And then he won't get a call that he thinks he deserves from the ump. Leads to a walk, or there's an error behind him, or he makes a good pitch and a guy fights it off for a base hit, knocks in a run. We'll see Kirby sometimes gets bothered by that. That was big time from Gilbert there to lock it down and get out of that inning without more damage. Man, I'll tell you. So due up for the Mariners this inning. Why doesn't it tell you? And why can't I remember who ended the last inning? It was Naylor, Suarez. Naylor, Randy, Suarez? So we go JP. Yeah, JP leads off the next inning. JP Crawford, who really hasn't done much in this offseason or this postseason. Here's what I'm looking for in this third inning, because you have JP, Dom Canzone, Leo Rivas. So Rivas had the big hit, obviously in the Detroit series in Game 5, but hasn't done much in this series since he's gotten a chance to play. Dom Canzone has really had a tough postseason. I was expecting to see Robles in there today for his defense and try to give him a spark, because Canzone just hasn't been making hard contact. And JP's just been bad. What I want to see this inning, if we get nothing out of it, is make Yasevich throw 20 pitches. Work his pitch count so that in the fourth inning, if we can get back around to the top of the lineup and maybe get back in this game. He's at 24 pitches now. Let's get him to 45, 50 pitches. JP, first pitch to JP, strike on the outside corner. Yasevich isn't the hardest thrower. He's not a 98, 99 guy. The 1-1 pitch, so they came back late. Thanks, Fox. The 1-1 pitch swung on a miss from Crawford on a breaking ball outside. Terrible swing. They are completely confused by Yasevich and his repertoire tonight. The 1-2 pitch to Crawford. Throws the ball in the dirt. Count evens at 2-2. The 2-2 pitch to Crawford. Inside and low. The slider misses. Full count. Let's get some base runners. Let's get that pitch count up. Dom Canzone on deck. And the 3-2 pitch to JP, high and outside, walked him. Leadoff hitter is aboard in the third inning for JP. Tony, my thing with JP is this, and I know that 2 years ago he had the big year, and he credited it with a change in approach of trying to just hit the ball harder. And it resulted in a solid year that year. The first pitch to John Canzone, strike on the outside corner, 0-1. But I think it kind of ruined him as a hitter, because now he's trying to hit home runs And he is a guy that needs to try to make contact. The 0-1 pitch to Dom Canzone. Swing and a miss on a changeup right down the middle. He starts him off with 94, follows that up with 83, and he's ahead 0-2. The 0-2 pitch to Canzone. Low for ball one. Threw that in the dirt. Was that the splitter? Yusevich doesn't appear, at this point in his career anyway, to have great command, but he has great stuff. He has swing and miss stuff. The 1-2 pitch to Canzone, swing and a miss, struck him out. Yusevich's 5th strikeout. 1 out now, J.P. Crawford on first base. I don't know why Canzone's in there. And I've got some things to say about Canzone when we get to the break. Leo Rivas at the plate now. First pitch, fastball right down the middle, 94 miles an hour, 0-1. Rivas is 0 for 7 in this series. Bottom of the lineup's been bad. It's been a problem. The 0-1 pitch to Rivas. Swing and a miss. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. The third baseman is almost playing shortstop. I don't know why Rivas doesn't think about trying to push the ball down the left field line and bunt for a base hit. I mean, now there's 2 strikes, so he's not going to try it. The 0-2 pitch to Rivas. Low, ball 1. It feels like with Yusevich's stuff tonight, the only way you're going to get to this team is to knock him out and get to the bullpen. The 1-2 pitch to Rivas with 1 out and a runner on first. Low, ball 2. So he doesn't seem like he throws the splitter for strikes. He's just counting on you thinking out of his hand it's a fastball. Because he's thrown a bunch of pitches in the dirt. Alejandro Kirk has done an outstanding job behind the plate. It's one of the reasons he's a finalist for the Gold Glove Award. Cal's not. That's a joke. Don't get me started. The 2-2 pitch to Leo Rivas. Foul down the left field line. Count remains 2-2. Make him work. Make him work. Still, I'd say, is Rivas a good bunter? They are not expecting a bunt right now. They're as close to a shift as you can get legally. Try to push the ball down the left field line. The 2-2 pitch, high for ball 3. He has come back from 0-2 to work a full count. J.P. Crawford at first base, 1 out, top of the 3rd. Leo Rivas at the plate. Julio on deck, full count. So you got to look fastball here. Fastball is hit to right field and deep to the warning track and off the top of the wall. Top of the wall, JP had to wait for it, though, so he only advances to second base. Leo Rivas came about 5 feet away from hitting that ball out of Rogers Center. Expected fastball, got one, pulled one down the right field line or to straightaway right field, almost got that ball out. That ball missed, I'm sorry, I said 5 feet. That ball missed getting out of the ballpark by 3 feet. Yeah. Bad base running there from J.P. Crawford. Didn't get far enough in between the bases. Should have been able to get to third base on that. But as it is, Julio at the plate, Runners at first and second with one out. 1-0 count. Ooh. So Yusevich misses. It's 2-0 on Rodriguez. Kirk throws it down to first base, try to get Rivas leaning. They call him safe. They call him safe. They're looking at it. Jays are challenging it, but it looks like Guerrero missed him. Like the throw beat him. But Guerrero puts the tag down in front of Rivas's arm. He gets into the bag. He's going to be safe. They're going to uphold this challenge. Yeah, he's in there. They just showed the perfect angle. There's no way they're going to reverse this. He's in there. The Blue Jay fans keep cheering when they see the replay, like they think it's going to be reversed. It won't be. Better not be. He got in there. Great throw from Kirk. The throw beat him. The tag did not. I wonder if the cheering is from Mariner fans that are there. No, he's clearly safe. That angle right there, you cannot. Yeah. But Ty Dan Gonzalez, who does Locked On Mariners, who's a good creator friend of mine. We've done a lot of Seahawks stuff together. He's at the game. Call stands. Runner is safe. He said there were significantly more Mariner fans there tonight than there were for games 1 and 2. All right, so it's a 2-0 count on Julio Rodriguez. Runners at first and second with one out. And what did I say? I wanted to get Yusevich to 45, 50 pitches. Julio just can't hit the ball on the ground here. Come on, Julio. Only hitting 222 in the series, but he does have the 2 long balls. And the 2-0 pitch. Slider. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Yusevich taking his time. Julio standing in with a 2-1 count and 2 runners on. The pitch from Yusevich, low, ball 3. The crowd doesn't seem as crazy. Remember game 1, how insane that crowd was the first couple innings? You could feel the nerves of an elimination game. The 3-1 pitch to Julio, inside ball 4, bases loaded with Mariners. 1 out, bases loaded. Cal Raleigh coming to the plate. The pitching coach for the Jays coming out to the mound to talk to Yusevich. What did I say I wanted in this inning? I just wanted the bottom of the order to work him, get his pitch count up so we could get into that Blue Jays bullpen that has not been a strength for them, especially that middle part of the bullpen. So Cal Raleigh comes up. He's going to be hitting from the left-hand side. Bases loaded. 1 out. 244 of you in here now. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. This is fun. I just didn't want to watch the game alone. I just didn't want to. Okay, goosebumps a little bit. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Cal. This would be a little bit of a moment, right? In his career with the bases loaded, Cal is hitting .231 with 5 grand slams. I'll take a base hit. I'll take a blooper. First pitch to Cal. Hit down the right field line, or double play. God damn it. come on. It's the only thing you couldn't do. That's the only thing you couldn't do there. Here's my problem with that. You've got a young pitcher on the ropes. He's struggling with his command. He's walked 2 in the inning. He's walked 3 in the inning. He's walked the bases loaded. The pitching coach goes out to talk to him. Make him throw you a strike. Now, maybe Cal's thinking, okay, because he's struggling and there's only 1 out and there's runners on and he's trying to find the zone, he's going to throw me a fastball. Make him throw you a strike. You can come back from 0-1. You can come back from 0-2. You're Cal fucking Raleigh. I don't like swinging at the first pitch there. That's rough. That's rough. But we accomplished part of the goal, right? We got Yusevich to, did he get to 50 pitches? That was my goal at the beginning of the inning, right? He is at 46 pitches, 28 for strikes. So work him the next couple innings. They should be able to get to the bullpen by the 6th. I don't see Yusevich going past 5, especially we've seen how aggressive Schneider can be unless he really locks it in and dominates through the next 2 innings. With his command, I mean, he's already walked. He struck out 5, but he's walked 2, only giving up the 1 hit. Now, for his part, Gilbert starts the 4th or the bottom of the 3rd. He's already thrown 47 pitches. He needs a couple of clean innings. He absolutely needs a couple of clean innings to get us back in this. Yeah, it's an issue. You expect better from Cal. And I don't just mean, I mean, baseball's hard, but first pitch double play, that just can't happen. Just can't. That's brutal. But you know what? It sets the stage for later. Cal making up for it and being the hero, right? We can hope. By the way, no matter where you're watching, and it looks like most of you are watching through Twitter, I believe the way StreamYard is set up is you can reply through Twitter and leave a comment, and it'll come up and I can show it on the screen. It's not just YouTube that allows you to do that. All right, so we start the bottom of the 3rd inning. Logan Gilbert facing Alejandro Kirk. Starts him off with a curveball for a called strike, 0-1. Come on, Logan, let's have a clean inning. The 0-1 pitch to Kirk. Strike on the inside corner, 0-2. Bottom of the 3rd, Alejandro Kirk at the plate. The 0-2 pitch from Logan Gilbert. Ball. Try to get him with a curveball low and outside. Missed. Try to get him to chase. And that was Gilbert's 50th pitch. The 1-2 pitch to Kirk. Grounded to Suarez down the left field line at the long throw to first base. Picked by Naylor. Makes the play 1 out. That was a tough one. If that's anyone in the Blue Jays lineup other than Kirk and maybe Springer with the bad knee, you might have a chance to be safe there. Whew, they are just making... They're making Gino work, aren't they? Is that their measure of revenge? They're like, we're just going to pound balls to him all day long and test his defensive skills. The first pitch to Dalton Varsho. is in there for a strike, 0-1. Now, he had a single in that second inning, kind of got things started for them, scored a run. And the 0-1 pitch, strike, 0-2. Good start to the inning for Gilbert. Facing Dalton Varsho, 1 out, the 0-2 pitch. Laced to right field, but right at Dom Canzone. That looked a little worse off the bat than it actually ended up being. 2 outs for the Blue Jays. They just showed the replay of that double play, and you know what? They owed us one, or we owed them one. Those double plays we had in the last game were of the phenomenal variety. All right, the number 6 hitter, Clement, is up with 2 outs. First pitch to him. Hit to left field and hard and deep. Arozarena back to the wall, off the wall. Julio chases it down, and it's a triple, a 2-out triple for Ernie Clement, who has been a real pain in the ass for this team. Stayed in the ballpark, just missed a home run. Really, really got all of that. Yeah, they're showing the replay. There's a space between the top of the padded wall and then the actual railing along the top. And there's like mesh for about 2 or 3 feet. It hit the gap there. First pitch to Barger is in there for a strike. And so it kicked up and over. If it had just come down and kicked down towards the Arozarena, it probably could have held him to a double. But 0-1 count on Addison Barger with 2 outs here. Got to get this runner. Got to limit the damage. Ball hit hard and deep to right field. Home run for Barger. 4-0 Toronto. Cannot do that, Logan. Got way too much of the plate through a slow off or breaking pitch right down the middle of the plate. 4-0 Blue Jays. Just can't do that. Can't let him off the hook there. Cannot do that. Starting pitching has been so important to this team, and it is letting them down in this series. If you'd have told me the only good starting pitcher in this series would be Bryce Miller, I'd have told you were crazy. Can't do that. You got to get someone up in the pen now. He's at 57 pitches. Obviously, the bases are clear. They're going to leave him in. But you have to think about what comes next. You have to try to keep the Blue Jays to 4 runs. If we can get to their bullpen by the 6th inning, we can score on this team. Really, really disappointed in Logan. I know in the second inning, the errors behind him were a contributing factor. He just has not had his best stuff. And he gave in to the hitter there. You can't give in on this lineup is so good. You can't give in to any pitcher on any pitch. You can't just lay one in there hoping he'll foul it off. That ball got way too much of the plate. 0-2 pitch to Kiner Falefa. Inside, 1-2. The difference between their lineup and our lineup is the bottom of the order. It's as good as we thought it was after the trade deadline. It's ground ball to shortstop, JP to first base. They're out of the inning. It's 4-0 at the end of 3. When they made the trade for Naylor, they made the trade for Suarez. All of a sudden, that lineup was lengthened, and that bottom of the lineup that was always automatic outs for years, and it was the real Achilles heel of this team, wasn't so much. But Canzone was hitting, and JP was hitting, and Randy was hitting, and those guys are doing nothing. And so that's an easy inning for the opposing pitcher to get to. And I know they just loaded the bases last inning with the bottom of the order, but it was because he couldn't control the baseball. The bottom of the Blue Jays order does damage. They hit the ball hard. They make you pay for mistakes. can't. I really expected more from Logan. I thought of all of our starting pitchers, he and Luis Castillo are the bulldogs, like the guys that have that mentality. They're going to fight you even if they don't have their best stuff. But that was just bad. This is obviously a tall order, being down 4-0 in Toronto to this team in a game that I think you have to win. Certainly George Kirby is capable if he's at his best in a Game 7, but he hasn't looked like his best in the postseason. So I feel like you got to find a way to win this game. Yep, you sure did, Tony, and I'm not giving up. But if you just tuned in 20 minutes ago and you saw Raleigh ground into a double play with bases loaded and 1 out, and then you just saw that inning and the 2-run homer, you might make other plans for the rest of the night. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to give up. I mean, there may be a skunk rule. If it gets to 10-0, I may end the stream and order some Taco Bell. But let's stay. You know what? We're going to try. First of all, I'll be right back. Hold, guys. We're going to switch it up. Got myself another beer, and we're going to go rally cap. I know it's early, but there we go. We're going to try that. See if we can switch it up. I'm not the most superstitious guy in the world, but I also am superstitious. First pitch to Polanco. Don't know if it was a ball or strike because they're not showing it to us. I hate these dugout interviews during the game. I think they're stupid. It's 0-1 to Polanco, the 0-1 pitch down low for a ball. I don't need these glasses. Not reading anything. What's going on here with the... Okay, there we go. The 1-1 pitch to Polanco. Fouled off. 1-2. I'm with you on this. Plus, I just don't like the odds of playing a Game 7 in Toronto. The 1-2 pitch to Polanco, outside for a ball. 2-2. The beauty of baseball, there's no clock. Until there's 27 outs, the game's not over. Anything can happen. The 2-2 pitch, fouled off. Polanco stays alive. Here's the 2-2 again to Polanco. Hit down the right field line. And Barger is underneath it for the out. Looks like most of you are watching on Twitter. If you could do me a huge favor and click on the video, go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to Mariners Forever. We are going to fire that up more on a full-time basis as we head into the offseason and beyond. Would appreciate that. By the way, because we're so new, this channel is so new, no ads, no monetization. Josh Naylor, first pitch to him, hits into the gap in left center field, and that'll be a base hit. So a 1-out base hit from Josh Naylor, first pitch swing. But if you want to support me, because I am a full-time independent content creator, this QR code right up here, boop, right there is to buy me a coffee or a beer, your preference. All right, Randy Rosarina digs into the batter's box. First pitch to him. First pitch swinging on the high fastball, fouls it off. 0-1 on Randy. Yusevich has started both the first two hitters in this inning off with fastballs. That is a departure from his approach up until this point, but he's got a 4-0 lead. The second pitch to Rosarena, grounded to the third baseman. Bare hands it and drops it. So the Mariners have something going here. Runners at first and second now with one out. Chance to get something back. So the hero of Game 5 steps into the batter's box. Suarez, I thought, saw a lot of pitches in his last at bat. Had some good takes. He's got a chance here. One out facing Yusevich. Pitch number 55 for him. Starts him off with a breaking ball high and outside, ball one. The 1-0 to Suarez with two runners on and one out. Swung and fouled back. Count evens at 1-1. Josh Naylor at second base. Randy Rosarena at first base. Suarez, the 1-1 pitch. Checked his swing. Did not go around. 2-1. He's ahead in the count. Nice. The 2-1 pitch to Suarez. Swing and a miss. Evens the count at 2-2. Crowd gets into it a little bit. Yusevich already has 6 strikeouts on the day. The 2-2 pitch to Suarez. Fouled. Stays alive. Five strikeouts for Yusevich, not 6. The 2-2 pitch to Gino. Down in the dirt, gets past Kirk. Runners advance. Runners now at second and third with one out, and Suarez now a full count. So now, does that take the splitter away from Yusevich because he doesn't want to throw one in the dirt? I mean, that ball went right through Kirk's 5-hole. Oh, but he's a Gold Glove semifinalist or finalist, and Raleigh's not. The 3-2 pitch to Suarez with 2 runners in scoring position. High ball 4, bases loaded again. So getting his pitch count up, he's now at 62 pitches to Savages. In the top of the 5th, the top of the 4th. With J.P. Crawford stepping into the box. Mariners had the bases loaded with one out last inning. Cal Raleigh ground into a double play. The first pitch to Crawford, strike. Starts him off with a splitter. It's in the zone, 0-1. Just cannot hit the ball on the ground here. The 0-1 pitch to JP. Outside. Gets the call. 0-2. I don't mind the approach here. He's struggling to throw a strike. Make him throw a strike. You're struggling as a hitter. He threw you a couple of good pitches. 2 really good breaking pitches that were called for strikes. Now JP working from behind. 0-2, one out, bases loaded. To second base, double play. Back-to-back innings, Mariners with one out and bases loaded. Ground into two routine double plays. 4-0 after 3.5. Toronto coming to bat in the bottom of the fourth. Now, the good news is, and I don't think they've updated his pitch count because on the telecast, it looked like he was at 62 or 63. But making Yusevich work, fifth inning, got an opportunity to get back to the top of the lineup. Julio will be up third in that lineup. It's not going great. It's not going great. What really pisses me off is the two errors. This should be a 2-0 game at worst because, alternate timeline. If you get out of that first inning without the errors and giving up the runs, then you don't get to that part of the lineup that did damage in the third, right? It's kind of like in football when people say that, if a kicker, Jason Myers misses a kick in the first quarter and then the game ends up being a 3-point game, you go, oh, he cost us the game. Well, no, because if he makes a field goal, it changes field position and the play calling and the play sheet and everything else kind of just changes the time-space continuum. So I don't really believe that is the truth, but yeah, those errors were huge. This could be a scoreless game if it weren't for those. But it is what it is. The Blue Jays are up 4-0. And coming up to bat in the bottom of the fourth. I wish on this app, I'm going to try it, find another one since it won't let me screen share anyway. It should highlight like who the next hitter up is in the next inning, you would think. But, maybe I just want too much. Am I too greedy? I don't know, maybe. Okay. So, yeah. Next up is Jimenez, who has been our nemesis. He'll be leading off. And then back to the top of the order with Springer and Lucas. Again, I don't think Springer is right. I don't think he's healthy. Win probability at this point, the Blue Jays 79.3%. Blue Jays with 6 hits to the Mariners 3. 11 total bases to the Mariners 3. Runners left on base has obviously not been updated. It shows both teams with 4, but the Mariners have left 6 on base just in the last 2 innings. So, yeah. All right, first pitch from Gilbert to Jimenez is in there for a strike. The 0-1 pitch from Gilbert, up high, ball. Gilbert, the 1-1 pitch to Jimenez, swing and a miss, 1-2. I just hate these dugout interviews. They serve no purpose. None. I think it takes away from the viewing experience. You want the beauty of postseason baseball is the drama, the intensity of one pitch to the next. This takes away from that. The 1-2 pitch to Jimenez from Gilbert. High, really high. So I'm going to take a look at Gilbert's StatCast page after this inning, but he doesn't have his full velocity. The 2-2 pitch, fastball down the middle, grounded to Suarez, routine play to first, 1 out. Like he's topping out he hit 97 in the first inning, but he's at 94. Springer hits one deep to center field, but too high. Julio underneath it. First pitch swinging, 2 outs. So I mean, Logan's been starts Lucas out with a fastball fouled off, 0-1. I got to learn to read this StatCat page. Here we go. The 0-1 pitch to Lucas from Gilbert with 2 outs. Down low. Ball. The 1-1 pitch, fouled off, 1-2. I just want to see where his velocity is compared to the first inning. The 1-2 pitch to Lucas with 2 outs. Outside, ball 1, or ball 2. So he's the first inning, he was 97, 98. The 2-2 pitch, grounded to Rivas at second base. Easy play to Naylor. That is Gilbert's cleanest inning. And he does not allow a base runner. It is still 4-0 after 4. So Gilbert, first inning, was 96-9, 96-8, 97-9, 97-8. He was 97-98. That last inning, 94, 94-2, 94-2, 94-1, 95-4, 95-1, 95-5. He's down. He is not holding his best velocity, and we're only through 71 pitches. It's not a great sign. When Gilbert was really good last year, he was touching 97, 98. He had more velocity. Maybe he's still not 100% healthy, or maybe he just didn't build himself up. I don't know what it is, but it's concerning. It's concerning. Scott, good to see you. Yeah, that was tough. Hopefully we don't look back on this game and that's what stands out. Yep. Huge inning from Gilbert. That was big. Had to have that. Had to have that if you really want any chance to come back in this game. Now you turn the lineup over. Almost, because I think Rivas, Canzone, Rivas, Julio. So you get back to the top. Yasevich is at there we go. That's what I need to see. Yasevich is at 65 pitches through 4. Let's make sure that he doesn't get to the 6th. That's what I want to see. If the Mariners have a chance, of course they have a chance. It's baseball. But for them to have their best chance to come back and win this game and advance to their first World Series in their history, feels like they need to get to that middle bullpen in the 6th inning. 6th, 7th, and 8th against that part of their pen. They've had some success against those guys. That's kind of the Achilles heel of this Toronto team. Let's do some work against Yasevich here. And even if he makes it through the inning, let's prompt a change. And I wouldn't mind a big rally here, even though I'm overdue for a bathroom break, but I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to tough it out for you guys, for the Mariners. And the first pitch to Canzone is way outside. Starts him off with the ball. Strike. Evens the count at 1-1. The 1-1 pitch from Yusevich. Fouled back. 1-2. Wow. Great stat they just gave. I'll tell you in a second. The 1-2 pitch to Canzone way high. Evens the count at 2-2. You have to go back to 1953 for the last time in the postseason that a team has ground into double plays with the bases loaded in back-to-back innings. The 2-2 pitch to Canzone. Inside. Ball. Full count. If Canzone gets on here, if he walks, if he gets on, I'm pinch running for him. The 3-2 pitch to Canzone. Ground straight up the middle for a base hit. A leadoff base hit by Canzone. I'm pinch running for him here. I'm putting Robles in right now. Because I want my better defender out there in the later innings, and I want a chance to score here on a double. And that prompted the Blue Jays to call down to the bullpen. They're going to get the pen up and working. Nope. Canzone staying in. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite him. The first pitch to Rivas. High strike. 0-1. I'm no manager, Tony, but that's what I would do. I would have started Robles to begin with. The second pitch to Rivas. Fouls it off again, so he's ahead. Yusevich is ahead 0-2. This is when we have to pounce on Yusevich if we can. They're talking about how his velocity is a little bit down. He's having a hard time finding the strike zone, although he's ahead 0-2 to Rivas with Canzone on first base. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Well, the other thing about when the Mariners were really rolling and the bottom of the lineup was producing, Cole Young was a big part of that too. His fall off the cliff the last month of the season and not even earning a spot on the postseason roster is a real bummer because it looked like he was really starting to become the hitter that they thought he was when he was drafted. Much higher contact guy. I mean, Rivas is just an automatic out. Julio grounds to the shortstop and another double play. The Blue Jays get out of the inning. So 3 straight innings, the Mariners grounding into double plays to thwart rallies. And now you let Yusevich off the hook, and they probably run him back out there for the 6th inning. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a bummer, guys. Mariners are 3 walks, 4 hits. They've had 7 base runners the last 3 innings. Have nothing to show for it because of 3 double plays. Look, there's a conversation to be had about this team lives and dies by the home run. It's what got them to the postseason. If they hadn't made the moves for Naylor and Suarez, they're not in the postseason, let alone winning the division, let alone getting a bye. So you can't criticize them for the approach because it's what they had to do to get there. But it's absolutely their Achilles heel now. They're just too hard to get out or too easy to get out. And that has to be the major issue, the main thing that's addressed this offseason. They've talked about it the last 3 off seasons. They talked about it heavily last offseason. We need to get higher on base, right? 2 years ago, it's one of the reasons that they let Teoscar Hernandez go. They have to make sure they put a lineup out there next year that's better at making contact, that can move runners over, do the small things, get on base more. They cannot be so reliant on the home run because guess what you see in the postseason? Better pitchers because you have to pitch well to make the postseason. Yeah, they need to, Scott, and they just don't. I mean, and then you run into like it's their DNA, it's what they do, and so do you want to ask your hitters to try to be something different, right? Are you going to try and change Randy Rosarena or JP Crawford now in their approach? You're just going to mess them up. So you're just kind of stuck now. And the only hope now is that you get into the bullpen, get some runners on, and somebody hits a big fly. Like, that's the only way you can beat this team because we just don't string hits together. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. And the real bummer tonight is Gilbert hasn't been at his best, but he's been good enough. If it wasn't for those damn errors, this is a whole different ballgame. Vlad Guerrero leading off the 5th. Gilbert, 72 pitches, staying in there. Leads him off with a strike. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Gilbert. Just a bit inside. Ball 1. Yeah. Vlad, Kirk, Varsho coming up. If the Mariners want a chance to come back and win this game, Gilbert's got to get it through the heart of the order here. The 1-1 pitch to Guerrero. Hit out to left field for a home run. 5-0 Toronto. Just left that ball right in the zone. Looked like a breaking pitch. Just hung it right in the middle of the strike zone. 5-0 Toronto. I expected better from Gilbert tonight, but would it have mattered? We can't score. We can't score against this guy, at least to this point. Yeah, Dan's coming to get him. I don't. They didn't show who was warming up. They showed Bizzardo warming up earlier. So maybe that's who you go to here. Yeah, this is a bummer, you guys. Because I'll say this: I don't mean. I think those of you that have watched my stuff and watched me over the years do Seahawks stuff and even a little bit of the Mariners stuff. Like I tend to lean into optimism. I tend to look at the bright side and be an optimistic guy. And there's still, there's still 12 outs for the Mariners to come back and win this. But it feels like they have to win tonight. That a game 7 with a George Kirby that I don't know that hasn't pitched all that well in the postseason, and I don't know that he when George Kirby's at his best, you can kind of feel it. He feels it. I don't get that from his body language. I don't know that I trust him in a game 7 against a guy like Shane Bieber, who's been there, done that, pitched in the World Series, won Cy Youngs, and looked like his old self the other night, looked like his pre-injury self. I'm not giving up on anything, and it sucks that if they don't pull this out tonight, they're going to overlap with the Seahawks tomorrow. I fucking hate that. But it feels like they have to win tonight. That Toronto would be, I'm not a betting guy, but Toronto would be the heavy, heavy, heavy favorite tomorrow night. Because they can go Bieber and they can go Scherzer, right? And those are two guys that have been in that moment, and none of our guys have. I want this to be a learning experience. I don't want this to be, hey, let's take this into the offseason and make us hungrier. Like when the Seahawks lost to the Falcons in Russ's rookie year, it was a game they should have won, but it's like, okay, well, that sort of spurred on the Legion of Boom era and those 2 Super Bowl runs, because they're like, we got a taste of it. Now let's go to the next level. And maybe there would be some positives to that. Like ownership has had a taste of it now, right? Like, let's take this thing up a notch. But I just don't. I had a lot more confidence that we had a chance to win tonight's game with Logan on the mound than I would if we have to play tomorrow night. So let's hope that we can rally something here. Bizzardo is the call. He's pitching to Alejandro Kirk. Starts him off with a strike. Fouls it off. 0-2. Logan Gilbert, 4+ innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. 4 strikeouts. Didn't have his best stuff. Alejandro Kirk hits one to Canzone in right field for 1 out. Dalton Varsho, Gilbert starts him off with a strike. Or Bizzardo, sorry. Lost my head there for a second. The 0-1 pitch to Varsho is low. 1-1. Varsho hits the ball deep to center field. Julio back to the warning track and hauls it in. He got just about all of that. That was a loud out. So 2 outs now. In the bottom of the 5th inning, Toronto leading 5-0. We'll talk about this in the break, Tony. Ernie Clement steps in to face Bizzardo. Clement's 1 for 2, reached on an error in that 2nd inning, and has the triple. First pitch inside. Ooh, got the call. Just clipped the inside corner. The 95-mile-an-hour running fastball. 0-1 to Clement. 2 outs. The 0-1 pitch hit into right field for a base hit, and Clement is going to turn and end up at second base with a double. A 2-out double for Ernie Clement. Addison Barger now at the plate to face Bizzardo, the lefty, facing the right-handed Bizzardo. Pops it up straight away center field on the first pitch. So the Mariners get out without any further damage. The leadoff home run from Guerrero. And the Blue Jays now, after 5, lead 5-0. Free agents, like I haven't dug that deep into it. Here's what I'll say about the free agent class. Their priority free agent needs to be Josh Naylor. And if they can get him locked up, then I think you're working trades this offseason. I think you're looking for another starting pitcher. I'm really intrigued by the fact that the Brewers are willing to trade Freddie Peralta with 1 year of control left on his deal. They'd be looking for young talent that's close to the majors. The Mariners have more of that than any team in the league. You add a guy like that to Gilbert and Kirby and Wu and Miller, that might allow you to trade Luis Castillo. His no trade clause is over. That contract's pretty reasonable for a contender that needs like a mid rotation starter that they can count on to throw innings. Then you can add maybe a third baseman, another bat that way. Like, that's my focus. I'm not looking heavy at the free agent market, especially not for hitters, because it's hard to attract them to Seattle. It might be a little easier now, but Josh Naylor's the guy you got to get. That's your biggest free agent. And then we need another stud bullpen arm, and maybe that's Gregory Santos. I'd hoped he was going to be ready by the end of this year to be able to help us in the postseason, but he obviously was not. But he's a guy that they went and got 2 years ago to be a high leverage arm. And maybe the thinking is, hey, let's get him into the offseason completely healthy, finally, for the first time ever, healthy knee, healthy elbow. And you add him to Munoz, Brash, and Spire and some of those other guys like that. Now we're talking. But if they don't think he can be what they traded for and the guy that he was pre-injuries, then you got to go out and get another big time bullpen arm as well. So that's my focus there. Get Naylor locked up first. And then I think you're making trades. Finally, dip into that system. Not all those guys are going to have a spot. If they all make it, they're not going to have a place to play up here. So you have a couple untouchables, right? Colt Emerson is an untouchable for sure. The pitchers are untouchable, in my opinion, because Sancha and Cade Anderson are not going to be very far away. Cade Anderson might even debut next year. He could be like Trey Savage. So that's my thought on that. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, you guys. I'll be right back. And hopefully I'm going to change my hat. Maybe that'll change things up too. Okay. The 0-1 pitch to Cal Raleigh for a strike. 0-2. Yasevich stays in. All right. Well, I'd hope to get him out by the 6th. But when you have a 5-0 lead, let's see if this hat does any work. The 0-2 pitch to Raleigh up high for a ball. Raleigh fouls off the 1-2 pitch to stay alive. Cal Raleigh leading off the sixth. The 1-2 from Yusevich. Swing and a miss. Yusevich's seventh strikeout. If they don't come back and win this game, like, the criticism is going to be heavy, but it's what they've been. Leaving runners on scoring, leaving runners on base has been their biggest problem. Being too reliant on the home run has been their biggest problem. Not being able to get runners in when they're on second or third and less than 2 outs has been their biggest problem. And yet here they are a game away from the World Series despite that. Against good pitching, that's going to hurt you. And Yusevich has been very good tonight. The really discouraging thing, as Polanco takes another ball, so he's ahead in count 2-0, is you expect more from Logan Gilbert. And for a guy that they're looking to extend and you want to be a big part of your future, going into the season, we thought Gilbert and Kirby were obvious candidates for big extensions, right? Polanco, the 2-0 count. Hits it to Guerrero, tosses to Yusevich for the out at first base. I don't trust either of those guys right now. I'm not offering a big extension to either of those pitchers this offseason. I'm not. I need to see them both bounce back and be studs next year because they both were progressing towards looking like aces. And this year, neither of them looked like an ace. And maybe it's because they never really were fully healthy, and a good offseason will help them with that. I'm not so sure. First pitch to Naylor is... Naylor hits one a million miles to right field. My delayed reaction was because I wasn't sure, because it looked like he got it, but the way he reacted to it, he kind of turned around, almost like he was pissed off that he hit it foul. But it was because he knew he hit it into the third deck at the Rogers Center. So the Mariners now get one on the board. It is now 5-1 with 2 outs still in the sixth inning. Yeah, tried to start him off with an off-speed pitch, got too much to the plate. Naylor smoked it, knew the moment he hit it, turned around, looked like he glared at the umpire. I don't know. So 5-1 with Randy Arozarena now ahead in the count, 1-0. The 1-0 count, Arozarena fouls it off, 1-1. This is the inning. Unfortunately, there's 2 outs already. But Yusevich is at 86 pitches now. For the Mariners to have a chance, they got to get to him or get to that bullpen in the 7th inning. The 1-1 pitch to Arozarena hit into the gap in right center field. He takes a turn at first base. He stays there. So another base hit. Are they going to come get Yusevich now? Arozarena's had 2 really good at-bats. That's his second hit of the game. 87 pitches now for Yusevich. And here comes John Schneider. He's going to come get Yusevich. They're going to go to the bullpen. So I had hoped they would do it before the 6th started. But hey, the Mariners have done everything in this game that they need to do except make basic defensive plays in the 2nd inning and get runners home who were in scoring position. But they knock Yusevich out of the game. 6 2/3 innings. He was outstanding. What a future that kid has, 22 years old. I mean, having that experience of pitching in the postseason now, it just really sucks that their kid has been better than Gilbert and Kirby, who were supposed to be our young aces. But it kind of looks like it's interesting how things change, right? You go into next season as they make the pitching change. We can talk about this a little bit. Like, fast forward to next year, unless they go out and trade for like Freddie Peralta, he might be your opening day starter. But you might flip the rotation around. I'm not so sure that Brian Wu and Bryce Miller aren't your 1 and 2 in your rotation next year with Kirby and Gilbert to follow after that. Talked about my plans earlier. I'm shopping Luis Castillo. I'm seeing what you can get for him. Maybe you can get a valuable bullpen piece and a guy to play somewhere in the field as well. Maybe you can get your third baseman that way somehow, or an outfielder that makes better contact that can be part of the rotation. I also haven't mentioned Jorge Polanco. I know he's got the option, but he could refuse the option if he wants to hit the market. So he kind of controls that, I think. But I think the Mariners are absolutely going to try to sign him. And he sounded so appreciative of them being the team that gave him a chance this year. And this is where he wanted to be, turned down offers from the Astros and the Yankees that they should be able to work something out there. So I expect to have him back. I would love to revisit the idea of him playing third. That was supposed to be the plan this year, if you remember, because the knee was supposed to be healthy. He was going to play third base. And they've just given up on that now, even though he's completely healthy. So maybe another full offseason of attacking his offseason routine, being totally healthy. Maybe we can revisit that if they aren't able to acquire a third baseman any other way. Play him at third and play Cole Young at second base. And at some point next year, I think Cole Emerson is ready. Cole Emerson might make the team out of spring training. And I think one of the biggest storylines in the offseason is going to be, do they ride with JP again for another year? I don't think you can just give it to him. You can't just hand him that. He's a liability as a hitter, and he's not as good defensively as he used to be. That's how he used to make up for his shortcomings as a hitter, is because he played such good defense. Not the case anymore. So a lot of interesting things can happen. So Suarez steps in against Varland. He's their best middle relief pitcher, Luis Varland. He's given up 3 runs though in the postseason, but he's struck out 11 in 8 1/3 innings. Eugenio Suarez takes a called strike on the second pitch, so he evens the count at 1-1. Runner at first, 2 outs. Suarez at the plate facing Varland, the right-hander. Fastball high for ball 2. Gino seems like he's seen the ball well tonight. He's had a couple good at-bats, even though he doesn't have much to show for it. Outside, ball 3. 3-1. So Varland quickly falls behind Suarez. JP Crawford on deck. So I don't know that he's going to give him anything to hit here. He's going to try to get him out with something away, probably. Varland with the pitch. Breaking ball right down the middle. Suarez must have had the red light. Full count. Come on, Gino. Get into one. Varland, the 3-2 pitch with 2 outs to Suarez. Hit into right field, dropped inside the line. That's going to get him 2. Can Suarez get to second base? Randy Arozarena around third. He's coming home. The throw is wide. The Mariners score to make it 5-2, and Suarez. So Suarez stays at first base to be safe. Thought he would have a chance to get to second with the throw going to the plate. Let's see the replay here. Suarez, obviously not the fastest guy in the world, but he really has. He took a wide turn at first. Why didn't he keep going? The ball kind of kicked off the little, the part that jets out from the outfield. Oh, he fell. Suarez tripped coming around first base as he tried to slow up and see where the ball was. Otherwise, he'd be at second base. That's a bad break. First pitch to JP Crawford is in there for a strike. 0-1. Dang it. Mariners have had some bad breaks tonight, too. I mean, that Suarez should be standing in scoring position. The second pitch to JP Crawford down low. 1-1. Hey, the Mariners are giving themselves a chance. And outside, falls behind 2-1. Come on, JP. When was the last time he had a big hit? The 2-1 pitch to Crawford. Fouled back, 2-2. And the Mariners have done this without hitting a home run. Well, no, Naylor hit the home run. How quickly we forget. The 2-2 pitch, inside, ball 3. Come on, JP. If you don't get your pitch, do not swing. If he gets you out with the breaking ball that gets part of the plate, tip your cap and come back up for the 7th. Try to do more work. Swing and a miss. Nope. Exactly the opposite of what I said. Guy throws a nasty breaking ball on the outside corner, tailing away from Crawford, and he swings at it. God, he's terrible. I don't think if the Mariners want to be World Series contenders from opening day next year, which they have positioned themselves to be, they should be if they do the right things in the offseason. And you don't have to rebuild the whole thing this offseason. You don't have to go get 5 or 6 impact guys. But for them to achieve that status, I believe J.P. Crawford can't be your starting shortstop for the entire season. Maybe he starts off as your shortstop if you don't think Cole Emerson is quite ready. But he cannot be the starting shortstop for you in August, September, October next year. Just can't be. Cannot be. Okay. So you're telling me there's a chance. Right? The old line from Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance. It's 5-2. We're into the Blue Jays bullpen. Randy Arozarena has 2 hits tonight. He's seeing the ball better. Suarez has had some better at-bats. Seeing the ball better. I think his approach is better. Cal's had a rough night. Julio's had a rough night. I think it goes without saying that if the Mariners are going to come back and win this game, one of those 2 guys is going to have to step up. Their at-bats, by and large, have been terrible tonight. Those 2 guys. Did they come back out with Bizzardo here in the bottom of the 6th? We've got Connor Flafa, Jimenez, and Springer. So bottom of the order back to the top. And I don't think Springer's healthy. So I would stick with Bizzardo here personally because I want him facing Springer if you get through the first 2 guys. But we'll see. And then that keeps you pretty fresh and really saves all your best guys if you can claw back into this a little bit more. Whew. Yeah, Scott, Detroit, last big hit. And Tony, Polanco has played. He's, kind of his whole career, he's moved around. I think he played some shortstop early in his career, but he's played quite a bit of third. I think he even played some third for us before he got hurt beginning of last year. But if he's capable of it, because there's 2 black holes in the Mariners system. One is first base. There's nobody in the system that projects as a major league first baseman at all, period. And so that's why you have to go all out and try to re-sign Naylor. And if you miss out on him, maybe you go with Murakami, right? You go that route or you sign another free agent. But yeah, Bizzardo stays in. First pitch to Connor Falafa, and he pops it up on the infield. Easy out. Nice. Third base is a black hole for now. There was an assumption coming up that maybe Emerson might switch to third at some point. But he proved last year beyond the shadow of a doubt that he's a big league shortstop and needs to stay at shortstop. All right. Andres Jimenez now up to the plate, the left-hander to face Bizzardo. First pitch, strike, 0-1. So first base, third base are the big priorities this offseason. If you can't get Naylor, you got to go plan B there, but you got to find a third baseman somehow. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 0-2. Ben Williamson is just, even though when he went back down last year, he showed a little bit more pop, changed his approach a little bit. I don't expect that to carry over. Looks like Vargas and Brash are up in the bullpen. The 0-2 to Jimenez. Swing and a miss. Man, I'll tell you, there's a lot of storylines this year, but Bizzardo's the completion of his progression arc, right? From a guy that they just signed off the scrap heap as a little known international guy. He's a guy you can count on next year. He's really established himself as a guy that you can trust. All right, 2 outs with Springer at the plate. Springer's 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch, fouled back. And Springer's hurting. He's hurting. So he's trying to hit home runs. You can tell by the way he's swinging. He's trying to hit a home run so he doesn't have to run hard. Let's hope he doesn't. Bizzardo ahead 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Springer. Bouncing ball to Suarez. Easy play to Springer, who looked like he collapsed on that leg and limps his way down to first base. He is not right. So, easy inning for Bizzardo. Little bit of a momentum swing, right? Just a little bit of a momentum swing now, with the Mariners getting back into it, making it a 3-run game, getting into the Blue Jays bullpen, which has been shaky. And now we're into the best part of our bullpen that's been the strength of this team in the postseason. Bizzardo with 2 easy innings. Now let's see if we can get something going. Crawl back into this. I feel like their approach is a little bit better tonight. They're not necessarily trying. Julio and Cal maybe are trying to hit home runs. Better approach from Randy. Better approach from Suarez. Better approach from Crawford, although that last at bat was kind of shitty. Just get 1 run at a time. Get runners on. Get them home. And if somebody can hit a big fly, great. But let's just get this game into the 8th or 9th inning with a chance to win it and hand it over to Munoz. There's a chance. Feels a lot better now than it did about a half an hour ago, right? I'm really going to have fun with this channel as we move into the offseason. So again, I'll ask you, there's 349 of you in here. Only 5 of you are actually on the YouTube page. We only have about 110 subscribers on Mariners Forever. 344 of you are watching through Twitter. So if you do me a favor during this commercial break, or when you get a chance and just click on the actual video, let it take you to YouTube and subscribe to Mariners Forever, that'd be fantastic. This is something heading into the offseason that I am going to do at least weekly shows. And then the thing I love about it is I love talking Mariners baseball. I've done it so much in my past. I've just been focused solely on the Seahawks the last 3 years. But it's during the football offseason, right, is the most fun time to talk about baseball. You get the owners' meetings and free agency and trades. You get spring training. There's a chance I'll be in Arizona for spring training this year and get out and get to see a whole bunch of games. I should know in about a month. And then obviously you get some overlap as you get to the end of the year, but then that's when it's the most fun for baseball because you have pennant chases and playoffs and all of that. And so would love to build this channel up to the point that it's worth doing even more than once a week. So the best way you can do that is subscribe to the channel. That would be fantastic, and I would greatly appreciate it. Well, guys, how are we feeling right now? How are we feeling? We picked up 1 subscriber today. Gone from 108 to 109. So if you want to support me, subscribe to the channel. All right. So Dom Canzone at the plate to face Varland. So the lefty-righty matchup, I suppose, is okay. I still would have pinch run for Canzone earlier with Robles. He did get the hit last 2 innings ago, though. Inside, so Varland falls behind Canzone 2-0. We certainly know what Dom is capable of. He can hit the ball in the 3rd deck in Rogers Center. He just hasn't made enough contact. The 2-0 pitch, and he popped it up. So I'm going Robles next inning as a defensive replacement. To me, that's it for Canzone. I would have pulled him and pinch run for him after he got the leadoff hit, but he should not be in right field the rest of this game if you have any chance to win this game. And also, remind me during the break, and we'll talk about Dom Canzone a little bit. Tony, I think Vargas has a chance to be the next Bizzardo. Like, he took a huge leap this year in his command and his control. The stuff is there, the velocity is there. Obviously, he's made himself a middle reliever. Leo Rivas takes one for a strike on the inside corner. The count is even at 1-1. The 1-1 from Varlin. Outside. Ball 2. And the 2-1 pitch fouled back, so it evens the count at 2-2. The 2-2. Right down the middle, strike free. Can't do that, Rivas. Cannot do that. We just give up too many outs at the bottom of our order. That's just not good enough. Honestly, some of you might think I'm crazy, but Julio steps in with 2 outs, takes a ball. He's ahead in the count 1-0. I'll finish that thought here after the inning, which hopefully will take a while. The 1-0 to Julio. Hit to left field and deep, but not as deep as it looked. Right to the left fielder for an easy 7th inning for Varland. So the Blue Jays, with the heart of the order coming up, lead 5-2 after 7.5. So a couple of things. Someone tried to tell me a week ago that they absolutely should let Randy Arozarena walk or trade him because Dom Canzone's a 300 hitter and he should play every day next year. Hitting 300 for 250 plate appearances does not make you a 300 hitter. There was nothing about Dom Canzone's profile that suggested that was sustainable, and now we're seeing it. He is a swing and miss guy with a ton of power, who's going to strike out 30% of the time and doesn't put good enough at bats together. He's a 4th outfielder, or he's a left-handed bat on your bench that can hit the ball, that can lean into one if you're down in the 7th inning and you need a spark. He's not an everyday player. So sample size matters. Don't tell me a guy's a 300 hitter when he's never done it before in his career just because he did it for a couple of months, right? Guys get hot. So that's one thing. The other one is, if we don't come back and win this game tomorrow, we go to a game 7. I want to put my best offensive lineup out there that I can. Leo Rivas cannot play tomorrow night. Dom Canzone cannot play tomorrow night. If we don't win this game, I'm playing Polanco at second, and I'm DHing. Who's pitching tomorrow? Bieber. He's a right-hander. Dan's probably going to play Canzone again because he's left-handed. Screw that. I'd rather play Mitch Garver. I would. He's more experienced. He's played in bigger games. He's come up with some big hits. He's even had a big hit for us in the playoffs. Had the big double in the Detroit series. I'd feel better about Mitch Garver being out there, even against Shane Bieber, than I would Dom Canzone, and have Polanco play second base and get Rivas out of there. That's what I would do tomorrow night. The other thing you could do is you could play, I would play Robles in right field. So I'd go Robles, Polanco at second, Garver DH. That's the lineup I would roll out there. And I don't care that it's the right-handed pitcher. That's not what Dan will do. He'll play the lefty. But it's not what I would do. exactly. Scott, agree with you. Hey, Brendan, thanks. I appreciate it. Matt Brash in to start the bottom of the 7th to face Lucas. Boy, Brash has been a little bit of a roller coaster in the postseason, hasn't he been? And hit to Rivas' second base. Throws it to Naylor for 1 out. I wonder, remember, Brash didn't have the full Tommy John. He had the brace surgery. So that makes me nervous, right? But I still feel like we're not seeing the Matt Brash we did before the surgery. He has relied so much on that slider and the sweeper this year. Before the injury, he would get guys out with 100 miles an hour. We haven't seen as much of that. He hasn't trusted that when he's behind in the count. Now facing Vlad Guerrero, first pitch, strike on the inside corner at 97. I wonder if maybe next year we see a little more velocity from him. The 0-1 pitch to Vlad. Hits him on the elbow. So Guerrero will take his base. Cannot give up another run in this game. If the Mariners want any chance to come back and win this game, it feels like they have to keep them at 5. Cannot give up another run. And now Guerrero on first base with 1 out. Alejandro Kirk steps in. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Brash gets the call on a ball. 0-1. Now, this is interesting. So the Blue Jays have Hoffman up in the bullpen right now. He is basically their closer. He's not. Kirk with a base hit into center field. So now the Blue Jays with runners on first and second with just 1 out. Hoffman's their closer. He's not the most dominant closer in the league, but he is their closer. He's up in the bullpen. The idea is obvious. You're going to have your best pitcher, and this is what the Mariners would be doing if they were at home, certainly, with a lead. They'd put Munoz out there in the 8th inning and have him go 2 innings and try to get this thing done. So if that's the plan, well, then does that take Hoffman out of the rotation tomorrow night? Can you not go to him tomorrow if you need him? So interesting choice potentially coming up here. And this is what worries me about Brash, because he doesn't trust that fastball as much anymore. He's so reliant on that slider and that sweeper, and those are pitches that are volatile. Like, you have to have a really good feel for those. And if you don't have feel on any given night, like, there's nights that Munoz can't really control that slider of his, but he can still get you out with 99 and 100. I don't feel like Brash can at this point, coming off the injury. They got Vargas is up, ready in the bullpen. So Blue Jays lead 5-2, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th with runners at first and second, and the left-hander Varsho, who's 1 for 3 tonight, at the plate. Brash gets the called strike again on a ball that looked outside the zone. Inside, armpits, got the call. 0-1. The 0-1 from Brash to Varsho. Down low, swing and a miss. Fouled off. Oh, and the Blue Jays are going to score a run. Ball got away from Raleigh. Tried to the Vlad Guerrero advanced to third. Raleigh tried to throw down there. The throw was wide of third. Guerrero scores to make it 6-2. And now 1 out, runner on second. It's been a rough game for Cal. Rough game He tried to make a throw when there was no play to be made. Vlad was already there. He had gotten into third. He was safe. There was no chance you're going to get him. Cal should have eaten that. Should have never thrown that. God damn it. Swing and a miss to strike out Varsho. 2 down now for the Blue Jays. God damn it. Terrible, Scott. Defense has been the difference today. I mean, maybe it's a 2-2 game. If we don't kick the ball all around, terrible. Yeah, Tony, this is a good point. Maybe he's feeling the fact that he's had terrible at bats. Brash outside. Now he falls behind. Falls behind Kirk. Is it Kirk? No. Clement. 2-0. The 2-0 pitch to Clement. Way outside. 3-0. Cal's going to need to hit a grand slam to tie it up tonight to make up for probably his worst game of the postseason. Jesus Christ. Brash walks Clement on a pitch that Raleigh had set up on the outside corner, and Brash throws it on the inside for a ball. Brash had no control of that. Thank you, Tully. I appreciate it. It's a new channel. We hadn't done any shows in the last couple of months. So I just wanted to do this for fun and see if anyone would want to come hang out. There's 374 of you. So I appreciate that. There's 9 of you on the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you would please subscribe, that would be fantastic. Those of you watching on Twitter, if you'd go over to the YouTube channel, Mariners Forever, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that as well. Addison Barger's 2 for 3 tonight, steps in against Matt Brash. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, runners on first and second. Down low, ball 1. The 1-0 pitch way outside. Brash is terrible tonight. We will be fortunate to get out of this inning at 6-2. This is not the best version of Matt Brash we've seen, just like it wasn't the best version of Logan Gilbert. The 2-0 pitch, called strike, 2-1. Like Bizzardo was great tonight. The other 2 guys, not so much. The 2-1, down low, 3-1. Brash in jeopardy of loading the bases with 2 outs. The 3-1 pitch to the left-handed Barger. Swing and a miss. He gets out of it. Oh, no, it was the 3-1 pitch. Sorry, thought it was full count. That was Brash's best pitch tonight. That was nasty sinker. Full count, 2 outs, 2 runners on. Toronto leading 6-2, bottom of the 7th. Brash checks the runners. Comes in, ball. Loaded him up. Get him out of there. I'd get him out. Come on, Dan. Like, the problem is Vargas doesn't have great control. Kiner Falefa comes up to the plate. Okay. Well, they're going to stick with Brash. Here's the situation. Toronto up 6-2 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Game 6 of the ALCS. Matt Brash on the mound facing Kiner Falefa. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The first pitch, way outside. 1-0. Brash, the 1-0 to Kiner Falefa. Fly ball to Canzone down the right field line for an out. They get out of the inning with no more damage. 6-2, leadoff hitter comes around to bite us. And another error on the Mariners defense. 6-2 is now the score. Wait a minute. Why does that not say 6-2? There it is. Well, due up in this inning. In the top of the 8th. Cal Raleigh, Jorge Blanco, Josh Naylor, with the Mariners trailing by 4. If they have any chance to win this game, it feels like they're going to need to turn the lineup over one more time. So you have to get something going this inning so that you can get back to it in the 9th. And I just don't trust the bottom of this lineup. Like, if they bring a lefty in, I'm pinch hitting Garver for Canzone if it gets to that point. But you got to get something going. This is the heart of the order. That's why they're bringing Hoffman in, their closer. If he can go 1, 2, 3 in the 8th, this game is pretty much over. We got to see something here from the 3 guys due up. Now, as we start talking about a game 7, you know what? Like, as much as I said earlier that it feels like they needed to win this game because game 7 in Toronto with Bieber and Scherzer, like that's tough. But anything can happen. Nobody gave this team a chance to win game 1, and they did. And I do believe George Kirby has a great postseason outing in him. We saw it against Houston 2 years ago. In the 18-inning scoreless game, right? We saw against a really good lineup, we saw Kirby be outstanding. He can be that guy. And then you can go to Castillo and Wu and all those other guys, right? If you have to piece it together, anything can happen. It feels a little rough right now. It feels a little bit rough. Yeah, this is that tightrope that you have to play in a game 6 when you're up 3-2. Like Scott says. Like, you don't want to burn everybody. You have to play somewhat for tomorrow. Like, I guess if we don't rally and get back in this game, the good news is you're not going to use Munoz. You might not use Spire, although there's a good chance that we'll still see him here in the next 2 innings. But with the day off yesterday, those guys can go back-to-back days too if they have to. So if you get it back to like 6-4, 6-5, you have to use Munoz and Spire. You can use them again tomorrow if you don't pull it off. So Raleigh steps in against Hoffman. Ball. 1-0. Jeff Hoffman, 33 saves out of 40 opportunities, a 4.37 ERA. Like I said, not one of the more dominant closers in baseball. Grooves the fastball for strike 1. So Jeff Hoffman has given up the most home runs of any relief pitcher in the American League. Keep that in mind. The 1-1 pitch to Raleigh hitting left-handed. Swing and fouled back. It's 1-2. Cal's timing is off. He's just not in a groove at all. Even that ball he hit for the home run on Friday was a skyscraper. Like, he didn't get all of it. He doesn't look comfortable. Now, as much as anyone, though, he can come back from a swing like that and tank one. The 1-2 pitch to Kyle Raleigh. Fouled back. They just had to rub salt in our wound. It's been 29 years since the team has won or has lost the first 2 games of a 7-game series at home and come back to win the series. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. That's the high fastball, 95 right down the middle. Cal usually eats that alive. This team can't win if Julio and Cal aren't hitting. They can't. They just can't. Unless it's 1-0, 2-1. And the pitching hasn't been good enough. He was way behind that. I don't know what he was thinking, what he was looking for. Was he expecting a breaking ball? He was way behind that. Polanco takes one down low, 1-0. Talk about salt in the wounds. First time all year the Mariners have committed 3 errors in a game. The 1-0 to Polanco. Ooh, almost hit him. Way inside. 2-0. The 2-0 to Polanco. Down low, gets the call, 2-1. I want to address this. Well, I'll wait till the commercial. Polanco fouls that off, stays alive at 2-2. The 2-2 to Polanco. Foul tipped into the catcher's glove, but he cannot hold on, so he stays alive. Crowd was ready to celebrate a strikeout there. They're showing Cal in the dugout. He looks dejected. The 2-2 to Polanco. Tapped out in front of the plate. Foul. They're talking about not just Scherzer, but Kevin Gossman will be available tomorrow night as well. Which might mean that Bryce Miller could be available then for the Mariners tomorrow night, in addition to Kirby and Wu. You got to empty the tank. The 2-2 to Polanco, fouled off. The World Series doesn't start till Thursday, so you would get some chance to rest a couple of guys. Maybe Luis Castillo ends up being your game 1 starter in that case. But everybody should be available tomorrow night except for Logan Gilbert. The 2-2 to Polanco again. Down low, but he tries to check his swing and can't. Strikes out. Completely fooled on that pitch. I mean, here's how you beat the Mariners. You keep the ball in the ballpark. Keep the ball in the ballpark. If you do that, you beat them. It's a bummer. And I'm not giving up. They still have a chance to go to the World Series. It just sucks we couldn't. Well, I'm not going to say that yet. Josh Naylor, who homered his last time up with 2 outs, steps in with 2 outs in the 8th, fouls the first one back, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Naylor. Fouled off again, or down the left field line. Caught by the left fielder. And that will do it for the 8th. Not looking good, guys. Mariners trailing 6-2. Headed to the bottom of the 8th. Not looking good. Here's what I was going to say. I wanted to address this. And I don't mean to pick on you. I don't. There are certain words that I think should never be used in relation to or in reference to professional athletes. Unless you've been there and you've done it. And joke is one of them. This team isn't in the playoffs if not for Julio. They don't win the Detroit series if not for Julio. He had some big hits in the first 2 games. Yeah, he's 0 for 10 in his last 3 against some really good pitching. To use the word joke, just like I don't like the word fraud. I don't like the word pathetic. I don't like the word embarrassing. Hitting a baseball is fucking hard. It's really fucking hard. And Julio, through his first 4 seasons, and you put his numbers up against all the players who have ever played baseball before, and there's only 5 or 6 other guys that have done what he's done through 4 years, and those guys are named like Aaron and Mantle. We're talking the elite of the elite. And he's still just, what is he, 24? Nothing's a joke. He just got beat. Sometimes you get beat. Sometimes you just don't get it done. It sucks. You can say it sucks. You can say it fucking sucks. But it's not a joke. It's never going to be a joke. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My Dan Talk. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's not looking good. I'm sure they're going to run Hoffman back out there again for the 9th, as would I, if I were the manager. We've seen some miraculous comebacks before, but coming back from 4 down is a different animal. It's a whole different animal. So I assume it's going to be Vargas here in the 8th. Is that what it looks like? Yep. Vargas is coming in. He's going to face Jimenez, the bottom of the 8th. And, just have to hope against hope. See if we can get something done. I am for sure, if we don't find a way to bring this back, going to drown my sorrows in some Taco Bell tonight. That's what I'm going to do. Or when we come back and win this and go to the World Series, I'm going to celebrate with some Taco Bell. How about that? To the last out. Isn't that what I said? To the final freaking out. There's no clock in baseball. There's no crying, but there's no clock. There actually is crying. Vargas's first pitch to Jimenez way outside for ball 1. And swing and a miss. Strike 1. As Scott said, Dan is absolutely managing this game now for tomorrow night, as he should. The 1-1 pitch to Jimenez. Popped up. Where's Al Michaels when you need him, right? Although, to be fair, he only said that after they secured the win, not before. Vargas facing Springer now, so for 3 tonight is not healthy. Up and in. Ooh, the crowd gets a little antsy. Vargas goes up and in to start Springer off, knocks him back. 1-0. You're not throwing at him there. Come on. Sometimes ball players are the biggest pussies. You're not throwing at him there. Come on. This guy's been known his entire career for having bad command. It's stupid. And 98 miles an hour dots the inside edge. 101. The 1-1 to Springer. Swung on, popped down the right field line. Naylor giving chase into the crowd. Springer once again goes down to his knee. He is not healthy at all. It's if you're a Blue Jay fan, you're happy they're up 6-2 because Springer probably isn't giving you the best bats he can. He's going down to a knee after every swing. The 1-2 from Vargas to Springer with 1 out in the 8th. Swing and a miss, 100 miles an hour, and Springer limps his way out of the batter's box. God. They're showing all the errors now. Brutal. Yep. Vargas to Lucas. Swing and a miss. 100 miles an hour. Strike 1. Yeah, so they're saying that the 3 errors led directly to 3 runs. Theoretically, this could be a 3-2 game right now. The 0-1 to Vargas, or to Lucas, to JP. Nice play from shortstop. Not enough time. Doesn't get there in time. He was falling away from it. Ground ball into the hole. Lucas safe at first. So that brings Vlad up again. So what's going to win? Vargas's 100 mile an hour velocity or Vlad? Swings at the first fastball, fouled it off. Remember when all the talk in baseball last year was that the Blue Jays were trying, or they were listening to offers on Vlad Guerrero Jr., were thinking about trading him, maybe even trying to trade him? How stupid would that have been? You can see why. The 0-1 pitch to Vlad, off his hands, into left field for a base hit. Randy runs it down, runners at first and second with 2 outs. You can see why the Mariners reportedly were one of the most aggressive teams in trying to go after Vlad. Like, what team would be stupid enough to trade him away? Of course you're going to go after him. That's when you know everything's going right. Breaks his bat, hits it off the handle into left field for a base hit. So 2 outs, 2 runners on, already down 6-2. Carlos Vargas facing Alejandro Kirk. Another 100, fouled straight back, 0-1. The 0-1 to Kirk, hit to right field, easy fly ball, so they get out of the inning with no damage. And we head to the top of the 9th. The Mariners down to their last 3 outs tonight to try and get to the World Series and avoid a Game 7. I will say this. Well, I'll save it until after this inning. We'll see if they win or not. It would take quite the rally. Randy Arozarena, 2 for 3 tonight with a run and a strikeout. Eugenio Suarez, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a walk, and JP Crawford 0 for 2 with a walk, due up next in the inning. Let's see if they can't, can they? They can. I was going to say maybe a pinch hit for Crawford, but they won't because Dan believes in lefty-righty, so he won't go to a guy like Garver or Robles. So he's going to ride with JP. Yeah. So it's going to be righty on righty, Arozarena Suarez against Hoffman. and then Crawford, the third batter in the order. Really appreciate you all being here again. If you would please, trying to build this channel heading into the off season. Most of you are watching on Twitter, but if you would head over to Mariners Forever on YouTube and just subscribe, it doesn't cost you a thing. You don't get notifications. You don't get spammed. You don't get anything. And when the channel starts to build up, all it'll do is it'll suggest new shows when you go to your homepage. And it shows like 12 different thumbnails. Maybe Mariners Forever will be one of them. That's all it costs you. Would really appreciate it as we try to build this thing up heading in the off season. We'll commit to it. Dabble in it this year. Didn't do any shows the last couple of months with the Seahawks taking precedence and then me moving around and stuff. There just wasn't time. Trying to juggle all those balls. But it will be a full-time commitment moving forward. So would appreciate your support. And if you just want to give me a coffee or a beer, that's what that QR code is for up there as well. All right. Well, if you believe in miracles, now's the time. In the words of the great Steve Perry, don't stop believing. And no, I'll spare you. I'll do you the favor of not singing it to you. And I can't play it or I get a copyright strike and that would shut the channel down. So let's not do that. Yep. Hoffman's in there, as I said. All right. First pitch to Rosarena is a high strike. 0-1. The 0-1 to Randy. Too high. Ball one. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Tristan, of course I do. Of course they could. It's baseball. Absolutely. It's a one-game series if they don't rally here. Swing and a miss. Down on strikes. They're having an interesting debate on the broadcast right now. Jeff Hoffman's only gone 2 full innings a couple of times this year, and so he might be unavailable tomorrow night should they need him. And Smoltz is saying no. Everybody but Trey Savage would be available tomorrow night. Same for the Mariners. First pitch to Suarez, swing and a miss. Everybody except Logan Gilbert would be available tomorrow night. The 0-1, outside. The 1-1 to Suarez. Yanked it in the dirt. Ball two. The 2-1 to Suarez with one out in the top of the ninth. Swing and a miss. 2-2. The 2-2. Foul off. The 2-2. Down low. Full count. The 3-2, swing and a miss, down on strikes. Mariners down to their last out. All right, JP Crawford, the Mariners' last chance. Inside ball one. The 1-0 to JP. Up high, ball two. The 2-0 to JP Crawford with 2 outs. Top of the ninth. Game 6 of the ALCS, Toronto up 6-2. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Feels like Crawford doesn't have a chance. The 2-1. Way outside. 3-1. A 3-1 pitch. Up high. So JP works the walk. Second walk tonight really seems like the only way that JP can get on base. Little meeting on the mound, but Hoffman is staying in to face the lefty Tom Canzone, who certainly, we've talked about this. He's capable of getting into one, hitting the ball a long way. Feels like it's been forever since he's done that. He did have a base hit earlier today, 1 for 3. The first pitch to Canzone with 2 outs. Swing, popped up high, back out of play. Yeah, 32 pitches now for Hoffman. Like Smoltz was saying, he probably can go tomorrow, but if he has to, it's probably not ideal for the Blue Jays. The 0-1 to Canzone. Way outside. Crawford takes second. So JP in scoring position now. Canzone with the count even at 1-1. The 1-1. Swing and fouled off. Mariners down to their last strike. Counts 1-2. JP standing at second base. Mariners down 6-2 in the top of the ninth to the Blue Jays. The 1-2 popped up, and that's it. That'll do it. So we're going to a game 7. Maybe it's a good thing that it's at the same time as the Seahawks game tomorrow, because it won't get my full attention. I'll be able to kind of watch it with one eye. Well, the Mariner game starts East Coast time, 8 o'clock. So it'll be, 6th, 7th, 8th inning by the time the Seahawks start. Here's what I'll say. if you're discouraged, and of course you are, there's every reason to be discouraged. When you think about where this team has been and where this team is now, on the verge of what I believe can be a long window of being the favorite in the AL West and a team that can compete for pennants and World Series every year. Think about where the Blue Jays were a year ago, right? They were so frustrated. They were talking about tearing everything down. They were going to trade Bo Bichette. They were going to trade Vlad Guerrero. They were going to offload all their major assets and basically do a reboot. And here they are this season. They didn't even get off to a great start. They had some injuries. Bichette's been hurt. They had some guys, some of these guys that are killing us in the bottom half of this lineup are guys that started the year in the minors. They had a young guy come through in Savage, or they wouldn't be where they are today. They took a chance on a couple of older guys coming off injuries, and Bieber and Scherzer, and those guys weren't very good until they finally got healthy kind of at the end and put it together. So unfortunate for us, right? But the reason I say that is this Mariner team, to get to the playoffs, to get out of that horrible kind of dark hole they were in, they had to patch this thing together at the deadline with Naylor and Suarez. Those are Band-Aids. Now, we hope that Naylor becomes a long-term fix, but there's no guarantee that he's going to agree to sign here as a free agent. So there's still work to do in the offseason. The Blue Jays, a year ago, were thinking about giving up. And here they are, one of the most powerful lineups in all of baseball. I mean, made the Yankees look like a AAA team, right? So there's no shame in losing to the Blue Jays. What makes it painful is we had the 2-0 lead. So I'll leave you with this. Nobody gave us a chance to win game one. Coming off the 15-inning game against the Tigers, we'd used up everybody in the bullpen. Miller's out there for the first time in his career in a situation like that. We had to piece it together in an environment that was made tonight sound like a funeral home. Like, that crowd didn't sound like they were into it tonight. Game one was insane. Everything against us. Springer leads off with a home run. We win the game. We come back. Game two, we win that. It's one game for all the marbles. Mariners are as close as they've ever been to a World Series. All they have to do is win one game. Has George Kirby been who we'd hoped he would be in the postseason? No. But he's capable of it. And we can throw everybody else out there, including Brian Wu. In fact, Wu's the first guy that I go to tomorrow if Kirby falters. Not Luis. I go to Wu first. You can even use Bryce Miller tomorrow if you have to. Everybody, unload all the bullets. Now, can we score runs against Shane Bieber? Is he going to be as good 2 times in a row as he was in game one? Because he hasn't been that good up until this point. They have to manufacture some runs tomorrow night without hitting home runs, and they have to field the goddamn baseball cleanly. It cost us tonight. If they field those balls cleanly, this is a whole different ballgame. 6-2, it kind of felt like a wire-to-wire win. It was, and it kind of feels like a blowout. But it's sort of like that football game where a play here or there goes the other way. It's a whole different result, and we're still talking about we're in the 9th inning right now, and the game is still in the balance. So I like this one. This is a good one to end on. Oh, Carter, I appreciate you watching, so I'm going to put this up there. He's a Seahawks fan and a Blue Jay fan. I know others like him. Corbin Smith is one. Tip of the cap. Okay? But here's what I want to end on. Mariners seem to always play their best when their backs are to the wall. Nobody's going to give us a chance to win tomorrow. Blue Jays are going to be ticketed to the World Series. You're going to see stories on ESPN tomorrow and MLB.com and everywhere else about how the Blue Jays match up with the Dodgers. Mariners can go do it. Thank you so much for watching. And again, I just asked you one more time. I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but there's 418 of you in here on Twitter. I've picked up 1 subscriber on Mariners Forever tonight. Maybe hop over there and give a subscription. It doesn't cost you anything, and it'll help build some momentum for this channel going into the offseason. It is going to be an ongoing thing, and we're going to have some fun. Michael Thompson will be involved. Rob Guerrero has told me he wants to be involved. I have a lot of people in my back pocket that are Mariners content creators that are really good at what they do that you all haven't seen me talk to because I've focused on football for the last 3 years. So I'm excited about Mariners Forever. I hope you are too. Thanks for joining me tonight. That was a lot of fun. Go Mariners tomorrow. Not going to be doing this because I'll be focused on Seahawks as well. But also, if you're new to this channel, you've never seen my stuff, check out Seahawks Forever as well. And think about giving me a subscription there. So thanks, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow for Game Freaking 7. Let's go.